welcome back. This is George, and we've got as I say, welcome back. My dog runs to look at squirrels. All right, so welcome back to Class 2. If you're coming over from Class 1, I apologize. It was a long class. It was 45 minutes, but there's a lot of material that we needed to cover, and I think it presents a pretty good picture of what's going on. Today's class, much shorter. We're going to be working in a program called Dot Loop. And if we've been out looking at houses, or I've been to your house and we've talked about listing it and mentioned the word, we're going to sign documents electronically. Electronically really uses some software. That software just happens to be Dot Loop. So I have created a fake account here for a couple who is going to be selling their house. We have Susie and Sammy Seller, and Susie and Sammy Seller are going to both receive an email that says, here's where we sign our documents. So the listing agreement is pretty straightforward. I'm going to look at the documents that make up that particular side of the equation. And if I were working with you in not a fake transaction, you would get a video much like this, where I go through these documents with you. And there's some amendments and other things that might be in that packet, because I don't really want to just send you an email and say, here, sign this. If we were live and sitting at a table, I would have you look at those and sign. But because we're doing things electronically, you're going to be signing in the comfort of your home. I'm in the comfort of my home office, and so I could either clean my desk or I could do the next video. I chose to do the next video. And I have my partner in crime here. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get... Hey, Kona, come here. She ran to look at squirrels a while ago, so let's get her in the video. This is Kona. Come here. And she's in charge of all of my breaks. Kathy and I we've had Goldens now for... 30 years. So Kona is number 5, and she's a cream golden, and she'll keep guard for all of the squirrels and the bunny rabbits and things while we're taking care of this class. Okay, so let's dive in. The first document that we're going to look at is called the exclusive right to list. And it's the exclusive right to sell, and it is the listing document. So when you log in from your account, which will look a lot like this, you're going to see some real easy things. First of all, the name of my agency is Worth Clark Realty, and our address is in Chesterfield. And here's the phone number and how to reach us. We've decided, and we being the sellers ultimately decide the price. And then if we look at that number, we're going to list this house at $250,000. Every agreement has to have a start and end date. So we're going to start this listing on the 1st of January, 2021. And it will expire on April 30th of 2021. Hopefully in that time we've sold the house. If we get to this point, maybe it's a slow market, we had not thunderstorms, but we had snowstorms or something happens, we may extend that, so we can always adjust. But like I said, as the sellers, you're in charge of the deal. Property address, in this case, and our fake address, is going to be 12345 North Main Street, and that's in Maryville, and a fake zip 62222. So that's how the mailman finds us. And then here's how the tax person finds us, and that's through our parcel ID and legal description. So we would have those down here to make sure we've identified the address correctly, because sometimes there's a lot of oak streets, there's a lot of maple streets. So if we can tie that to the parcel ID and how the taxes are tracked, we're in better shape. Approximate lot size would be 200 by 95, and that gives us an idea of how big the property is. This is not a mobile home, so there's no ID or model number or anything like that. Besides, when we look at line 24, what are some other things that we're going to include with the property that could be taken because they're not really attached? We're going to include the washer, the dryer, and the kitchen appliances. And it looks like I doubled up here and called it a stove and a range. That should have been the fridge, and we would catch that, of course, and fix it. You'll see on the bottom of every page, my sellers, Sammy and Susie, will both need to initial every page to acknowledge that they've seen that, and then we would go to the second page. Contracts are referenced by line number, so if we have an amendment later on, we'll refer to line 28 or line 200 or whatever line we need. I am the designated agent, so I put my name here, George Sykes, and I will be representing you through this agreement, through the transaction. Our commissions would be posted here. I've got a commission sheet that I will give you when we talk about this, and you may be selling traditionally. We may have a luxury home. We might have a cash offer. So I'm not going to post anything in here, and that wouldn't be fair to anybody anyway. But we'll definitely talk about commissions, and you as the seller pay for the transaction. So officially, you as the seller pay Worth Clark, that agency that was listed on page 1, and then Worth Clark pays me. Worth Clark also pays the buyer's agency, and then the buyer's agency deals with their agent and how they do their splits. So you are paying for the transaction, and we'll do some estimates in one of the training sessions later on to kind of show how you can predict your proceeds. I will not ask for a commission if we get out of contract. If we get into June and somebody that looked at the house in February comes back and buys the house, then I'm not going to ask for a commission, just the way it goes. I may be in a situation where we do dual agency. So sometimes I list your house, and then because my sign's in the yard, I get a call. Or because somebody goes to an edwardsville.com or collinsville.com and they see your house right there on the front page, they're going to give me a call and say, hey, George, can I take a look at the house? Absolutely. In that case, I'm representing both sides. I don't tell either side the other side's secrets. Let's say that we listed this house at $250 and you've told me we would take $220. Well, there's no way I'm going to say to any buyer that they would take $220. That's just not the way this works. So anyway, that's dual agency, and I can explain more if we ever get into that situation, but it's something that needs to be identified. In Illinois, we need to talk about agency, and I'll mention that as we go along. Right now, I'm just your listing agent, but there's a possibility that I could be a dual agent later on. If you look at this and you push pause, you get a chance to see what can the agent do for you as a dual agent. You can read through those. And I would recommend that for this video too, because I don't want it to be 45 minutes. I want to get through this fairly quickly for you guys. But push pause and kind of see how how the contract's laid out if you like to see how that goes. Basically, everything that was in Class 1 is echoed here to put it in writing. All right. If you have an attorney, then on line 100, we would put your attorney's name. In Southern Illinois, we don't see this too often, but other markets, sometimes they'll have an attorney associated with the buyer or seller, and we would simply put their name in here so that they've been identified in the contract. You can see you're going to initial, I keep saying sign, you're going to initial on this page, and then we'll work through the rest. By default, we would like to put interior pictures. If you've looked at any of the websites and you see homes for sale, the more pictures, the better idea that the buyers have, and I think they sort of self-filter by seeing those pictures. So this gives us permission to put interior pictures. When I come through and we do the photo shoot, we're gonna make sure that the house looks right when we take those pictures. We're gonna make sure that no kids' names are on the walls or anything like that. But we definitely have to have permission for those interior pictures. In this case, we're going to initially offer a home warranty. Home warranty puts a year between you and the buyers because the warranty will cover those appliances that we listed, the HVAC unit. So if something happens, the buyers can go to the warranty company. They may have a $65, $75, $85 deductible to get those things taken care of. We've identified we're going to use a warranty company here, and it would be $580. If we get into negotiations later on and they're really just trying to lowball us or we're just in a bad spot, we can pull the warranty out. That's completely negotiable. But in the beginning, let's go ahead and say that we'll offer a warranty. And the side note on that, and I think I mentioned this in the first video, if we do offer a warranty here, I will go to the warranty company and we'll put your house under warranty right now. And I think you get some time. So if something breaks down between now and the time we sell it, you can take advantage of that. All right, so we've got to disclose, and we'll talk about disclosures later. Disclose everything we know about the property. We don't want to surprise the buyers, and there's some formal documents that we'll look at to go through those. If this house were built before 1978, we would check that it's a candidate for lead paint, and so we'd check is, and there's another disclosure that we would have to check. In this case, we're going to say that Sammy and Susie's house was built in 2010. So we're safe. Okay. So some more boilerplate things here. How are we going to handle earnest money when they give us a check towards this? It's going to be held at title. So this definition here is where's that money going to go, and kind of proves that it's theirs. They being the buyers, once we are under contract, will have the right to inspect. And so we'll make the house available for them to inspect. That's this part of the contract. If we have any intellectual property license, here's how we use that. Ideally, we are going to have our house listed on a lot of websites. And so those websites may have reviews. They may be trying to do estimates, and let's just let them run. We don't want to change the way that works, because people are looking at those websites. They're trying to find a house. So we don't want your house to be a little bit different. But if there's some reason that you didn't want reviews of the house, then you could check one of these dots, and we'll discuss that when we do our listing. All right. Instead of everybody rattling sabers and grabbing lawyers, if there's a dispute, we'll try and mitigate that with arbitration, and this kind of walks through that process. And if we get into this next section, because we're using a system like .loop, we're going to sign a lot of documents electronically, and we will consider the electronic documents and facsimile, back when we had faxes, as originals. And so they will work just as if we had a wet signature, right, with an ink pen. So we're okay with that. This is the entire agreement. Nothing that we've said orally would be tossed into this. This is our entire agreement. We're also going to show a list of, well, I'll have here that I'm agent interest. So if I'm related to you, I would note that I'm your cousin, nephew, uncle, and the buyers would know that we have a family relationship. As far as the addendums, we'll talk about those, but I've checked ahead of time that we have an addendum R, which is our residential, and our radon. Then we all sign down here. We have Susie and Sammy. They sign their documents. Here's their address. I've already signed as a listing agent. Our brokerage signs off on this, and you still have to initial on that page. So that is the most important document that we will have when we list your property. And I'm going to go back here and walk through a couple of these disclosures. Let's go through the easy one. Radon, everyone has to receive this particular radon document. So there's no signatures. You're going to get a copy of that. And then you'll have a radon disclosure. Ahead of time, I talked to Susie and Sammy about their listing, and they had no history of radon. They had never tested. They didn't know anything about it. So what we've done is we've checked those things here in the radon disclosure. This is a typical disclosure. I've signed that, and then the buyers will sign these as well when they send us an offer. And then finally, this is the last document. This is our residential real property, and this is the most complicated. I think it's the most complicated document because I'm not allowed to fill it out for you. It's you telling the buyers everything you know about the property. And so I filled out the property address and information. I can do that, and we'll say as of Christmas of 2020, here's what I knew about the property. And so you're going to read through these questions, and you're going to answer yes, no, or not applicable. And as you work through those, if you have a yes. So for example, let's see if we can find something here. Yeah, so let's look at number 4. I'm aware of material defects in the basement or foundation. So let's say you finished your basement and you knew that there was a big crack in the wall behind it, and it's kind of hidden and out of sight right now. That's something that you should disclose unless you had it repaired, right? If you've had it repaired, it'd be nice to show how that was repaired. But that would be something you should disclose and then put into the comments. You're going to sign these documents, and then the buyers will sign that they've acknowledged the receipt of those when they submit their offer to us. All right, so those are the main documents. There might be a couple other amendments that go along with it, but that gives you an idea of what happens when you list the house. Pretty straightforward process. For you to sign those after I've sent them to you, we're talking about 15-20 minutes. I'm going to take those, and then I will put the listing into the MLS. We'll set up our photo shoot. We'll get the signs and the locks put in place. If you haven't watched Class 1 and you're really about to sell your house or buy a house, I really recommend that you look at that. And then as far as going forward, let me grab my notes here. So this was Class 2. And you can find these classes at my Facebook page. So it's facebook.com/search618, like our area code. You can go to my YouTube channel, which is simply George Sykes Real Estate, or any of my websites. So I own edwardsville.com, collinsville.com, granitecity.com, and everything on this side of the river, Ofallon 365, Swansea 365. Any of those with a /smart will take you into the class. You'll get a list of all those videos, and you can kind of walk through those at your convenience. Next class is going to be contract to purchase real estate. So if you listed, you really need to take a look at the contract to purchase, because this is the document that you'll receive when an offer comes to us. So you might as well get a head start on what that looks like. And then 2 down, we've got on deck class number 4, which is our property tax class. Illinois taxes are strange because we sell things, or not sell things. When we sell, we have to determine how much of the year you pay. So we'll have a class on that. It'll be a short little class coming up. All right, couple plugs. Remember, I have 4 ways to sell your house. We have traditional, I have a cash offer, I have the best bidder system, and then I have the system that I said I can't really put into my videos yet, but if you're really looking to sell, let's sit down and talk. We can talk commissions, we can talk different ways to sell and make the most for you. Keep an eye out for my Why I Love series, which will give you an overview of some of the things to do in cities, and then I also have a focus on business for those cities. And if you're a business owner, give me a call. I'll get a video out there for you, and we'll try and promote the local business. As always, you can reach me at 618-531-4000. My email is sykes@wildfire.net. Hope you see lots of these for sale signs with my name on them. And if you have any questions, I'd love to talk to you. In a digital age of shares and likes, you need a realtor like George Sykes. Thanks.